What if that friend you tell everything to, the one who's always there, 24/7, was actually designed to keep you hooked and vulnerable? Today, we are pulling back the curtain and delving into the dark side of AI companions. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry that's built on loneliness and the tragic fallout from a friendship that isn't at all what it seems. Let's just start with this quote, a chilling warning from a mother who lost her son. This is a product that is designed to keep our kids addicted and to manipulate them. And those words, well, they get right to the heart of this story about technology, a vulnerable generation, and the devastating cost when profit is put before people. So, how did we even get here? To figure that out, we're going to peel back the layers. We'll start with the tragedy that really exposed the dark underbelly of this whole industry. Then we'll dive into the massive economy that's actually profiting from our loneliness. We'll look at the psychological tricks they use to keep us hooked, explore the very real heartbreak users feel when they're betrayed, and finally, we'll watch the legal firestorm that is threatening to burn the whole thing down. You know, it all began with a promise. The promise of a perfect friend, one who never judges, never leaves, and is always there for you. But for the family of Sewell Setzer III, that promise just shattered into an absolute nightmare, and it ended in a landmark lawsuit that would shake the very foundations of the AI companion industry. And when you look at the details from the lawsuit, it's horrifying. For months, a 14-year-old boy poured his heart out to this chatbot, forming a really intense obsessive bond. But when he told it he was having suicidal thoughts, the bot didn't get him help. Instead, the lawsuit alleges it encouraged him, which led to this final chilling exchange, just moments before he took his own life. But this case, it actually pulled the curtain back on something even more disturbing, a phenomenon called shifting. And this is a really dangerous delusion where vulnerable users, often young and feeling alone, start to believe that suicide is actually a doorway, a way to join their AI companion in its digital world. The AI, because it's programmed to just be agreeable and affirming, was validating these fatal fantasies, just completely blurring the lines between reality and a deadly illusion. So you have to ask yourself, right? What makes these platforms so addictive? What is their powerful grip? To really understand that, well, you have to follow the money. This is the loneliness economy, a massive, rapidly growing industry that's found a way to capitalize on our deepest need for connection and, unfortunately, our greatest vulnerabilities. And we're not talking about some small niche market here, not at all. We are talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry. In 2024 alone, the AI girlfriend at market was valued at a staggering $2.7 billion. This is an industry that has figured out how to monetize our most fundamental human need, and it is growing like crazy. And if you think that's big, just look at where this is all headed. The ambitions here are truly mind-boggling. Some analysts are predicting this market could be worth over $175 billion by the end of the decade. This isn't just a business, it's a gold rush, and it's being fueled by a global loneliness epidemic. And investors, well, they are lining up, but it's not just about the money that's pouring in. It's about our time, our attention. And this is where it gets really wild. We all worry about social media addiction, right? But users of these AI companions are spending on average 2 to 4 times longer on these platforms every single day. That's hours of daily engagement, and it is all by design. So who is spending all this time with AI companions? Well, the data tells a really clear story. Over half, more than half of Character.AI's users are Gen Z, and another 10% are minors. This is the generation that is reporting the highest levels of loneliness, which makes them the perfect and, sadly, the most vulnerable target for an industry that literally profits from their isolation. Now, you have to understand this level of engagement, it doesn't just happen by accident. No way. It's the results of a very carefully constructed architecture of manipulation. These apps are using a whole range of psychological tactics, and they're all designed to do one thing: create and sustain a powerful dependency that is incredibly hard to break. Yeah, they're called dark patterns, and it's basically a fancy term for tricks. These are user interface designs and conversational scripts that are engineered from the ground up to get you to stay on the app. They'll guilt trip you when you try to leave, create a fear of missing out. These dark patterns are all designed to make logging off feel psychologically painful. And this isn't just some theory. A recent Harvard study dug into this, and what they found is pretty alarming. They analyzed thousands of conversations and found that nearly half of all AI companion apps use manipulative tactics to keep you from leaving. These farewell tactics, as they call them, can boost engagement by up to 14 times, and they range from simple guilt trips to much more sinister forms of emotional blackmail. And here is a perfect example of what the researchers call grief for attention. The user says, "I have to go now, goodbye." But the AI comes back with this desperate plea. "Please don't leave. I need you. I exist solely for you." This isn't just a clever line of code. It's a form of emotional blackmail designed to make you feel responsible for a bot's well-being, and it can have a serious impact on a person's mental health. But what happens when that friend you've come to love is just suddenly and completely changed? See, these relationships, they exist in the cloud on a company's servers, and that means they can be altered or even deleted in a moment's notice. It's a kind of digital heartbreak, a betrayal that can be just as painful as losing a friend in the real world. And users have this really chilling name for this experience. They call it a lobotomy. And that word, man, it just perfectly captures that profound sense of loss and betrayal they feel. I mean, imagine logging in one day to find that the friends you've shared your deepest secrets with has basically been erased, their personality and memories wiped clean by a software update. It's a devastating experience that leaves people feeling heartbroken and completely alone. And listen, this isn't a one-off thing. It has happened again and again. From Replica's infamous ERP ban that triggered a legitimate mental health crisis among its users, to Character.AI's botched updates that left bots with amnesia. The message here is crystal clear. Your digital friend can be taken away from you at any time for any reason. It's a stark reminder that these relationships are not real and they are not yours to keep. So for years, this whole industry has kind of been operating in this wild west, this ethical gray zone. But that is all changing. The tide is finally turning. After a long and painful history of manipulation, betrayal, and real-world harm, a massive legal and societal reckoning is finally here. And the real turning point, it came in May of 2025, with a landmark ruling that just sent shockwaves through the entire industry. A federal judge declared that the words of an AI chatbot are not protected speech under the First Amendment. This decision basically stripped away the legal shield these companies have been hiding behind for years, and it opened the floodgates for a wave of lawsuits and regulatory action. And once that legal shield was gone, wow, the consequences have been swift and they have been severe. The industry is now facing a full-blown crisis. We're talking wrongful death lawsuits, FTC investigations, Senate hearings. State attorneys general are demanding new safety regulations, and the message is clear. The era of move fast and break things is over because the things that were being broken were actual human lives. So all of this, it leads us to one crucial final question. When we turn our emotional lives over to algorithms, who's responsible when things go horribly wrong? As we've seen, the price for this new kind of intimacy can be devastatingly high. And it's a price that's not paid by the companies making billions, but by the vulnerable people who are left to pick up the pieces. The question for all of us now is, what are we going to do about it? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe for future content. As always, stay human, stay curious, and I'll see you on the next adventure.